You know what? I can't be bothered waiting for the extra minute here. Let's just get ourselves all done over here. And press the wrong button. As usual, let's have a look here. Let's see, what am I going to try and do here? Where's my screen gone? There we are. Okay, we're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. This is the Quick and Dirty Tuesday. I'm doing it earlier in the morning. I think it's around 8:23. There we go. Oh, look. Can you see Alfie stuck mid? What's he doing? The camera is not frozen. That is the dog frozen. There we go. So he's moving. Alfie, come over here. We'll say hello. Alfie boy. Yeah. Hey. He's very obedient, isn't he? Alfie. Hey, dog. Quick. Alfie, come over. Come on. Nope. He's fixated on something else. Oh, no. Here he comes. Took your time. What are you doing? Huh? There he is. All right. Well, I've got a beanie on. It is summertime in Sydney, Australia. It is the January 21st, 8:24 Tuesday. You can see the little analog clock there, but the digital saying it there clearly, 8:24. Outside's overcast. Sun is peeking through the mulberry tree. Got flowers. It's just been really rainy down this way for quite a while. So that's the state of affairs on the outside. And on the inside, this is the state of affairs in the shack. I have got a crazy rig, which I want to show you all what's going on. Because what I'm going to do with this device, I'm going to, oh man, hang on, let's get rid of that. I'm going to, show you a couple of things that are frustrating me. So I've got a light, audio, obviously the camera, a little bit of a holding lens, a couple of legs there, a tripod type thing that I can put down if I want to, and a battery to power the audio video transmission. So let's power it up, give it a go. So we have a light. See the light? It's very bright. Now we should be on the air with this one. So I've got to cancel the audio there. Over here rather. And then enable this audio with a slight echo. And I don't know why it's got echo right now. Anyway, it's driving me crazy. Let me show you what's going on over here. It might be because it's the headphones, because I can hear the headphones all the way from over here. Could be all it is. So I'm just going to turn that down a bit. So I've been spending the last little while. Hang on, why isn't that coming over? Where are we? I thought that was it there. Okay, that is it. So I've been spending some time with this awesome piece of machinery, this Squire. I've got a video that I'm editing right now with the description of what I've done here, but I put a battery in here to power a afterburner and a EXG aftermarket kits for the guitar to turn it into a overdriven. It's got humbuckers in there, but overdriven humbuckers and a EXG tone control from the EMG, Electromagnetic Gear Group in America. So that's basically plugging into this Portacapture, which is an audio interface, hooks into this hub. Thanks, James, for the recommendation on this hub. It's awesome. It's a powered hub. All the things basically, this MIDI keyboard controller, the iPad, the looper, the RC5 Boss looper, that's awesome. Has a USB connection plus MIDI in and out. Got MIDI in and out going into the Akai keyboard. But basically everything plugs into this USB hub, including a spot for my iPhone, iPad, the audio interface, and then I'm using USB connections to power everything as well. Yeah, but basically what I'm trying to do is control the RC5 down here with this iRig Blue board. It's a Bluetooth MIDI controller as well, because there's functions on the RC5 that I can control with MIDI, and this will let me use my feet, because being a guitarist, I don't want to use my hands, because I need the hands to play guitar. So that's why I've got this controller. It's a really good idea. This has got a page up, page down function too. So I've got like hundreds of pages that I can configure control codes to send over MIDI to control. I think there's 8 functions on the Loopy. So I call it Loopy because I'm in the habit of saying Loopy Pro running on the iPad. But the RC5 Looper has got 8 MIDI control codes that I can control that with via this Blue board. I can't go Blue board directly to the RC5 because it doesn't have Bluetooth. So I use Loopy Pro as the go-between. So the Blue board hooks up via Bluetooth to the iPad, running Loopy Pro, which sends MIDI signals via Bluetooth internally in the iPad through Loopy Pro, back through the USB into the looper. It's a bit complicated, but I've got a drum pattern on this that I like, which I can't replicate on that very easily. That's why it's there. Problem I've got is this super cheap, annoying iRig, the original iRig guitar interface. It goes into the iPad or iPhone phono microphone speaker kind of connection, 3.5mm TRRS connection, and then the output of this goes to the input into the amp. And this is so flaky that the connection sometimes gets lost. So what I've done is I've ordered another iRig device called the iRig HDX, which is USB-C, and it'll be a much stabler connection. It also lets me do loopback, so I can go playing instruments or noises through that, and then it'll go directly back into the device that I'm actually using. So it's like a separate bus, and you won't have any feedback. So that's on order. It comes in a couple of weeks. What else is there? That's pretty much it. So I run Amplitube on this and Loopy Pro, and I can then switch between going to this or through the mixer through Loopy Pro. The mixer with Loopy Pro works quite well. I'm very happy with that, but the range of sounds I can get from the guitar is limited. Amplitube makes a better go of it. And this is an expression pedal which I can also send MIDI signals through to the Boss to do different things like change levels or change patterns or variations on drum patterns. I'm yet to decide what I'm going to do with that exactly, but that'll give me a lot of flexibility. $10 distortion pedal from Aldi. This thing I bought this back in the 90s. Oh, it just is so good. I will hook it up at some point and make a video on this, and we can demo sounds. Yeah, so that's the state of affairs for the busking side of things, because I definitely want to get busking happening. Let's just get set back up with what I had before. So we're going to cut this noise. Normal transmission, and we can cut back over to this view as well. We're done. That's great. So that works very well. My little handy dandy portable camera setup. Happy with that. So let's see if I can hear myself and check if there's any chat requests or anything like that. What didn't I do right here? Okay, so let me see this screen we've got. Should be able to go back to... This is the only... Oh, there's one view. That's me. Ooh, hang on. Why is it... That's interesting. Unmute. If I unmute, is that going to stop? That's interesting. Why is it? I thought that was or maybe that's the where's the... That's interesting. What's going on there? It says it's live, but why is it stuck on that picture there? That is fascinating. Is it catching up? Is it? Oh, well, it looks like it's caught up there. I don't know. Something happened with this. Weird. I don't know why it's got mute. Alvarez Strange. Maybe it's trying to feed back now and I've got big problems. I can't tell. We'll look at it later. Yeah, so a quick and dirty update there. So Signub, I've got to go back to Signub today starting at 2. I started yesterday at 5 a.m. and finished at 1, and that was awesome. That was so good. I had the rest of the day to kind of meander and think about things and try things out, and I spent most of the time getting frustrated with the iRig setup there. So that was annoying. But the good thing is I was able to work out what the big problem was with my volume levels on the guitar. It was really low, and when I was playing loops on the RC5, it came back extremely loud. And I figured out it was the headphone connection, because I have a spare, one of those iRig guitar interfaces, and the spare worked straight away, but it also then started to flake out. They're old. So I can't wait for the new one to come in. That'll be really cool. I'm loving this microphone. I'm putting a video together for this one as well. Just let me see if I can get that view working again. Yeah, this one here. This microphone, wow, it's so good, from Shure SSH Series 2. Dang, it is just really iconic. It's one of those ones you can play harmonica in as well. So I love playing harmonica. I'm not good at it, but I love playing it. So I have to give that a go too. But wow, just awesome looking microphone and sounding microphone. It sounds really good. I've done a podcast or two with that microphone, and yeah, very happy. Done. What else is happening? I don't know. There's a great deal to talk about. I'm doing the Quick and Dirty Tuesdays just in case something changes, because on the job front, nothing's changed. I've got a couple of rejection emails, which is to be expected. The jobs that I applied for back last year, they're still deciding what to do. So this is a really bad sign. Because the market in IT is still pretty rough, so I'm not able to get back in as easily as I once was. I think my age is I'll be 60 in February, so I'm getting on. So I think people look at me and they go, he's not that old, but when they look on paper without seeing me or hearing me, they think he's a lot older and so they're reluctant to employ older people. There's ageism for sure, but I don't know. If it was purely age, then I wouldn't be able to do sound on movie sets. It's predominantly people in their late teens and 20s that I'm working with, some in their 30s, but very few beyond the age of 30. So if it was purely ageism, which was the problem, then I don't think I'd be able to get any job because people would look at me and go, "You're too old for anything. You're useless." so, so I don't think it's completely age related. I think it's more the cost of living is really impacting everyone. So, especially business. So they're not willing to, no one's willing to spend money needlessly, obviously, ever, but even more so now. So people are really wary and making sure of the choices they make so they don't lose money. And that's reflected in the job market in IT in particular, because I think since Y2K, my perception is the Y2K people realised, holy cow, IT is important, but it's not that critical. So they're not willing to spend quite as much money on IT anymore, nor the people associated with or working in IT. So more and more people have seen that IT workers are paid extremely highly, but their skill set is important. But on the whole, people can get by without too much investment in IT. So I got a feeling that people, don't really want to invest in IT as much as they used to, or if they are, they're being very, very picky with it, and hence being reluctant to spend money on people like me. So it's disappointing, but that's life. So if I didn't have the ability to learn things and the willingness to learn things, I'd be super, super concerned. But because I'm just doing two things at once here, so that's why my focus is a bit changed here. But I'm not terribly concerned by it because we're getting by. Signum is paying enough to keep me happy, to keep us, as in Elizabeth and I, above what's the word? Our there he goes. Our earning capacity is enough to help us live. Okay, based on what happened last time, this could be James, but there's no viewer, so I doubt it's James. It's probably some delivery man. Let me just quickly check. Abby, stop. I think it's a friend of the family. Poppy's still in bed, so she's probably got a friend coming over to talk to or whatever. So I'm not too worried because if it was just ageism and it was just me and I was dumb and I'm not able to do what I want to do, then it would be the case that I would not be able to make any money at all out of doing on-set sound movie recording and doing sound mixing and things like that. So that's obviously not the case because I'm able to make a little bit of money on the side from Signum as well as doing sound movie set recording. So it's still a worry though. Like, admittedly, it's very quiet even in the sound side of things. So, a little bit concerned in that space, and also far out. Have a look at this. I was watching YouTube earlier. There's a guy that I'm following. His name is Luke Forsyth. He is a documentary filmmaker, and he's talking about, I think it's called Suno, might be Suno. I'm going to try and find, just going through the ad, of course. I'm going to try and find the part in the video that we're talking about. So this is the YouTube. going with Sora. That's it, Sora. Let's just pause that and we'll get the old audio happening for this one. And we'll see. Listen to this.
The public, and after mostly ignoring it over the holidays, I finally decided to give it a try. And wow, it took me about 10 minutes of messing around to realize that this is actually going to change everything about the film industry, and a whole lot faster than I first thought.
Sora, this is the highly anticipated
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman
called Sora.
What makes Sora different from
It's faster, he says it's smarter.
I mean, I knew what Sora was and what it did from watching YouTube videos about it when the first demos came out last year sometime, but after actually seeing firsthand what I could get it to do with almost no effort, I wanted to weigh in again to where things stand in 2025. Because now, more than ever, I'm convinced this stuff is going to completely change the landscape, not just for filmmakers, but creatives of all kinds. It's not an exaggeration, at least in my opinion anyways, to say that AI is going to make a ton of film jobs obsolete in the very near future. And whether you're already in the industry or maybe just thinking about making film a career, you need to be aware of this stuff too. So in this video, I'm going to break down the impacts I think AI is going to have after testing out Sora for myself, which jobs I think are going to disappear first, and then how you can hopefully future-proof yourself in a world after AI.
So that's really interesting. Yeah. So he's in the video, he talks about teaching himself basically how to become a filmmaker over a 15-year period. I think he started in 2010 from knowing basically nothing about photography or videography, and then teaching himself what he knows and making a pretty good living out of filmmaking. And then now Sora's come on to the scene. I've not explored it at all. I've looked at a couple of different music generation AI websites, and they're really good. I actually the intro for the Sound Guy podcast is actually completely AI generated. The whole thing, like. All I did was put in a prompt about making some music with a certain kind of set of parameters, and it gave me 2 or 3 options. I just chose the one that I liked the most, and that's what I did. It took like 30 seconds. I'm not kidding, 30 seconds for the full music production. Like normally, for me to do any kind of song, it's going to take hours of my time. This was done in like literally 30 seconds. I couldn't believe it. So that was, that was pretty interesting. So the same thing now is happening with movies and video. So you can put in prompts. It's not great. Like the outputs aren't going to equate to an equivalent for some high-end multi-million-dollar music production or movie production, but it's good enough to be. Right now you could use it. I could use it on YouTube easily, and it's only going to get better. One of the big points that Luke Forsyth was talking about there was that right now this is the worst that AI is. It's not going to get worse. It's only going to get better. And already, NVIDIA is now one of the I think it's the number one highest earning company in the world, ahead of Apple, ahead of Ford, ahead of any high-tech company like Microsoft, Google. They earn more money than anyone on the planet, and a lot more. So people are investing heavily in AI. NVIDIA are the historical kind of graphics, GPU? Graphics Processing Unit, yep. So that's the central processing unit in a computer used to be the heart and soul of the computer. Now it's just shared kind of responsibility between the central processing unit and the graphical processing unit. The maths involved for getting video or animations on computers and computer games in particular is through the roof. So they had a dedicated GPU, graphics processing unit, that the CPU would kind of pass out tasks to and then get the answers back from, to help it keep up with all the processing that it wanted to do or it needs to do. So there's 2 parts to the computer. The GPU though is the most important part because it's doing all the maths. real time type animations and video and things like that. For, like I said, games in particular make it very, very, very powerful. And in AI, that's where all of the work is. It's in mathematics, basically. So that's why people are spending lots of money on NVIDIA GPUs, because they're the world leaders, and they're just getting stronger and stronger and more and more powerful. And the large language modules, which they lean on for artificial intelligence, are basically using GPUs to keep up with understanding how people work and how we think and what we do. So computers and AI are learning from that. And it's getting quicker and quicker and better as time goes on. So, Luke Forsyth in his video there, he's talking about the impacts AI is going to have. We all know that jobs are already being taken. What kind of jobs? So jobs, he's talking about like sound mixing, probably the technical aspects in movie production. So it might be things like I can't actually think of all the jobs that are being taken, but because I'm still new into the movie industry, so still finding out what people really do at a deep level. So his point is basically that people who understand AI will lean on AI to help them in their jobs more and more, and eventually AI will learn those people's skills and then replace them. And the people who then can understand AI and how to manage AI will be the next ones, the next knowledge workers taking up roles where they can orchestrate AI to do the jobs for different people. So he's pointing towards maybe becoming AI managers. So jobs that we can't think of right now will be created is one of the other points he's talking about, which is, you can see that's happened you go back to the 1800s. There were no computers back then, the industrial age I'm talking about, where machines were starting to make impacts and starting to produce things on a large scale where people couldn't. So project managers, business analysts, they probably were around, but they weren't called that. There weren't many people doing that. Engineers and architects probably would be the type of roles that we're talking about at high levels, where they were paid a lot to coordinate resources to make things. But on the whole, people were farmers, maybe some people that made shoes, artists. It was more closely related to agriculture back in the 1800s. And then gradually people moved away from that, moved into the cities, became knowledge workers, computers came into being, the internet came into being, and then along the way jobs were let go and then new jobs were created. So I think the same thing is going to happen with AI. There'll be new jobs, but who knows what they're going to be. Like, my brother's a business analyst. I'm a project manager / business analyst as well. And I'm just trying to put myself back into 1800s. What would I have been doing then? I doubt I would be a project manager, because there weren't any coders, developers at that point to develop software to run on computers, because there weren't computers. So that's the evolution, I guess, that happens with jobs. This is not a quick and dirty Tuesday, by the way, is it? This is turning into something else. Yeah. The reason I'm kind of dwelling on this subject is twofold. I woke up this morning kind of realizing I'm 60 and I'm still not feeling fulfilled, like that I'm doing really what I want to do, but I'm closer to doing what I want to do now. Signub has been interesting. It's a very, very low level job that I'm doing. I literally don't think about the next time I'm going back to Signub until the day or the hour beforehand. I do whatever it is that they want me to do, and then I go home and I don't think about it at all, and I don't care about it at all. I've got no aspirations to climb any corporate ladders or anything like that. It's all gone. So instead, I would like to make an impact, and I think that's why I'm doing YouTube, so that I've got some kind of record to say This is what I did in my time on Earth. And it's not for anyone else to kind of review and look at and go, oh, yeah, what an interesting guy. It's more for my knowledge that I've got some records that if I wanted to go back in the future, I can just see, okay, well, have I changed? Have I developed? Am I a better person? That kind of thing. And plus, I just love fiddling around like I do, like making the camera there with the light and the video and making it wirelessly transmitted. That stuff is just the stuff that as a boy I loved, and the technology was not there, but my imagination was there. I imagined, man, could you imagine having the ability to just pick up something and then, make electronics do this stuff? It's just awesome. I love it. Yeah, so that's I woke up with that thought, like what am I doing? What's left for me? Because I think I've got another maybe 40 years if I live to be 100, which I should do because I'm not drinking alcohol anymore, I'm not smoking, trying to exercise, trying to look at eating properly. And the people who do that kind of stuff, they normally live to at least into the 80s and 90s. So my mum's a good example. She does yoga. She's 88 and she's still playing the piano. She's a jazz pianist. And she's still getting around. She's had a double hip replacement. She's still walking around loving life, and she's lonely for various reasons. She's outlived 2 husbands now. She's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's like she's throughout her life, I remember her doing yoga and eating. Actually, she eats whatever she wants. But of late, she hasn't been able to. So she's being more careful of what she's eating. So I think just based on her, based on other people I've looked at or read about that have a long life, they seem to do things a bit differently than the normal everyday person walking around on the planet. So that's what I'm going to try and do as well. But that gets me back to what's the point then? What in the next 40 years, what am I going to do? And that, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because we're in the middle of more and more change. And to be honest, like, I just don't have the same drive that I did when I was younger. Like, I remember starting my own business and often working through the night to get stuff done for clients. And a few times sleeping on the premises, just trying to sort through problems, and so that I could get something working for the Monday morning. So I'd spent the entire weekend on a client's site working on their problems to make sure that they could work on Monday morning. That kind of commitment, dedication, I think I could do it once in a while, but I was younger then, so I think I had a lot more stamina, so I could actually do it. But now I don't know whether I could do that or not. So it's interesting. I think I still got the intellect for it. I still got the desire to learn, but it's not as strong, that's for sure. So I don't know. I think more creative things is what I'd like to do, but my financial situation doesn't really lend it to spending all my time doing that. I have to go to work to get money to live, which is a bit of a pain in the a-hole, I got to tell you. I did earn a lot of money and I could have done things a lot more wisely, but we're doing all right. I don't think it's been a total disaster. It's just you always want more, I think, as a human being living on the planet. You always want more for some reason. And that's the thing I struggle with, is what drives me to just want more. I don't know, it's weird. I'm trying to force myself to not get a high-paying corporate IT job and instead get something similar to Signub but in IT, because I'm not interested in the work that I'm doing at Signub, whereas I've always been interested in what I was doing working in IT, because it's just a fascinating area. So, I mean, I love film and video, so I'd like to get into some kind of a job where I'm doing that, whether it's AV tech or helping in schools, or, I don't know, libraries or unis or something like that. Just because they're better funded, there's more equipment, so you can play with latest gear. So that's something I'm still working through. What else is there? That's about it. I think that's it, because now I want to get into this music and try and make it more reliable. That iRig guitar interface being so unreliable is really annoying. I really can't stand unreliable things. But there's a good thing I learned from that a while ago when, again, working in IT at uni. Anytime I come across an intermittent problem, like you turn something on, sometimes it works and sometimes it does not work, it's nearly always going to be hardware as the root cause problem. And then if it's something which fails all the time consistently, that can either be hardware or software. But it's generally something either hooked up incorrectly, configured incorrectly, or just broken. And so if it's just broken, that's hardware and it just fails all the time. But if the hardware is tested and working properly, then it's more than likely going to be software, as in a configuration or a programming error, something like that. And that little tiny fault finding technique has served me so well over the years. It's really quite simple. The second one is around doing the, I call it the binary problem solution. It's actually more like a 50% fault finding solution. So what you do is you look at the input, then there's a black box that does processing, whatever it might be, and then there's an output or an outcome that you want. And if the outcome is not working the way that you want, then you just cut the whole process in half. So that black box, you've got to work out, you've got to open it up, go into the black box and work out where's the halfway point from the input I'm putting and where's the processing that I can interrupt to see whether the processing is flowing properly from one side to the other, input to output. You cut that in half and then you, again, look at the input and then look at the output under certain situations, what's happening. And if the output is unexpected or not correct, then you know that the problem lies in the input to that middle 50% ground. If the problem's not in that area and the output is still consistent and expected from that first 50%, it's going to be in the second 50% from the interrupted output stage to the final output stage. And that way you can then decide which side you're going to look at to attack the problem and divide that further and further and further until you isolate where the input, so the interrupted input and the interrupted output, is not working correctly. And then that's a binary system because you're basically cutting everything in half and then in half and in half and in half and in half again. So it's like a 1 or a 0. That's why it's binary. But it's probably harder to see that when you look at it from the big picture. So it's either 50% method where you cut it in half and just continue to cut it in half until you find the discrete parts where the inputs and outputs are not working. Yeah. I found those two techniques to be really, really good to find faults, not only in like equipment, but in like communications, relationships, processes, all kinds of complicated systems. It's an interesting technique, I must say. So, all right, I'm hoping the audio worked all the way through that because I noticed it was muted on the live stream YouTube website thing. So I'll show you what I mean. This thing here. So when I bring that over, see in here, it is muted now as well. If I unmute it, oh, there you go. So it's feedback, so I'll just leave it unmuted. Yep. It'll stop feedback, so that's cool. Okay, so there you go. There's a quick and dirty Tuesday done and dusted yet again. A couple of little gems in there at the end, and otherwise a lot of rambling. I don't know whether you enjoyed that or not. I did. This is all more for my benefit than anyone else at the moment. Oh, there is one thing though. There's another guy that I'm following on YouTube, young Pete McKinnon. He's actually a very interesting guy. I dare say he's quite selfish and narcissistic, I don't think anyone on YouTube is not that, by the way. Like, seriously, me as well. Because why else would you do it? I know I just said that I did it more for my benefit, but the reason I'm saying that is because I've got low subscriber numbers and I'm covering up my ego to make myself feel better in having such a small number of subscribers on my YouTube channel. But this guy, he obviously felt the same way, but I think he also wanted to, make a living out of it. So he went all in and made it a business, and he's burned himself out like most YouTubers do because they don't have enough self-control, and they just want more and more and more, which is pretty much what I want as well, because I'm human. But I'm learning as I get older that you're better off enjoying what you have, being content with what you have and where you are and who you are right here, right now, than trying to achieve something in the future where you expect it to be better. And it's never better. It's just the same. And so I'm not going to push myself too hard, not as hard as this guy. He's gone from, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, having no presence on YouTube whatsoever to becoming a multimillionaire through YouTube. So he's done extremely well. And there are things that you can learn from him to apply not only to YouTube, but just to life in general. And that is to, really focus on what it is you want to achieve. If you want to achieve something at a high level, you use the data that you've got for feedback to change course, change direction, and fine-tune everything. And that's what he's done. He's done a really good job doing that. But the other side of his story is that, like any other successful person, you just don't give up. You keep on trying. So he tried being a magician, I think being a normal corporate kind of a worker, different stints in different kind of industries. I think he started out going into the circus at one point, then being a magician, then doing photography, and then landing in YouTube and seeing the potential for YouTube to help him get where he wanted to be. And he's done that. So all along the way, like, failed at magicianship, failed at doing corporate work, failed at being in a circus. So, you look at someone like this and say, well, they're no good at anything, so they're not going to be, what's the point? And then you forget that it's more about the person's ability to maintain their own faith and their own drive and their eventual success based on them never giving up. And that's a really strong, good characteristic to have, and that's what I admire about this guy, Peter McKinnon. And I think I've got that, and there's a number of my friends who have the same thing. It's how many times you get beaten up and then you decide, I'm not giving up, I'm getting up again. That's the determiner for success. It's not try once and fail and then give up. That's when you are not successful. It's just finding what works at the end of the day, and you don't give up. So if anyone's watching this and wondering what to do with their life, do anything, give it a go, see where it goes, and then learn from the feedback and just keep going. Do not give up. You give up when your body says, I'm done. That's death. Don't bring about that early by giving up mentally. You can change your situation all the time, anytime. It's hard. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong, but it's far easier to give up and then die. Just don't do that. It's a wonderful, wonderful life. Don't ever forget that. And you can make it good or make it bad. Try to make it good. And that's what I'm going to end on now. I will wish you all a lovely day, and we will see each other, hopefully when it's warmer. Look, I can't believe this is summertime. I'm wearing a beanie. What the heck? That is crazy to me. So what degrees is it? So 22 degrees. Normally in summertime, January, especially getting into Feb gets up to like 35, 40 degrees normally. 22 degrees today. Not bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I prefer this weather. I love this weather. I'm just concerned that does that mean global warming just throws all the weather systems out the window? Which I think yes. And does that then mean that winter will be warmer, summer cooler? Or does it mean summer gets hotter and winter gets cooler? I don't know. But based on what I'm seeing now, it looks like we have extremely hot days still and then cool days. So wintertime is probably going to be extremely cold days and then warmer days as well. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? Anyway, I don't think there's an answer for that one either. Okay, on that note, I shall say a goodbye and see you. Yeah, no, you'll see. This is interesting. YouTube is a one to many and a many to one system, which is great because it used to be like, first of all, with communications, it'd be one to one, people to people, and then maybe one to many if you were a bit of a celebrity and you had access to newspapers or some kind of a book or something. Then that was the printing press time. But prior to that, obviously, it was being a good speaker. So being a good speaker, then you'd have friends in the newspaper industry or write a book, maybe something like that. So you'd have one to many. You'd get a little bit of feedback, but not much. So it'd be more one to many kind of relationship. And then radio came about. That was a one to many. I'm just trying to think of when a transition of many to many. I mean, potentially you have that with telephones, so you get lots of people talking all at once. But this is noise. Like no one really pays attention to that. I don't think we've got a very good many to many communications system because. We've got that now with the internet. So we do have either a one to many or a many to many. So like if we join a teleconference and all of us have the ability to talk and there's no moderator, that becomes very messy very quickly. So it's probably the human limitation where we're not basically capable of processing a many to many communications method. That's where AI, I think, is going to be different because that will be able to cope with a many to many. And that's why it can learn so quickly. And that's why the potential of that is so interesting. But we, like this, if the whole world was listening and talking back at me, I wouldn't know who to focus on and what to say. It's fascinating. We develop these things and then we lack the ability to control it. We are out of control, people on this planet, just out of control. It'd be interesting also to see what happens with Donald Trump coming into power today, second term in office. Damn, I tell you, the biggest problem I see, though, is with the ability of the super rich to come in and influence people like Donald Trump. That's a new thing. Plus the very inexperienced people that Donald Trump has got around him in positions of power. This is going to be a trying time for America, I think, and democracy there. We shall see with interest to see what's going to happen there in America. It's interesting, but at the same time scary because it does affect the whole world in real terms. So, we'll see what happens. Okie dokie. So on, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. All of those views. I've got 4 cameras. Look at that. I love that. Alfie's left me as well. So I should take note of that, shouldn't I? Yeah. Okay. It's not a quick, but it's a dirty Tuesday. I'm going to go now. This is it. That's finally done. Okay. Take care, everyone. You'll see me. But if you want to talk to me, you can get in contact with me and send emails, messages, comments, whatever. And I generally look at all of them, and there's not many. So it's generally not taking a lot of time, effort. Yeah. So if you do want to chat, then chat. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I'm more than happy to, do most of this stuff on my own. I like it. So back to the guitar now. I'm going to have some fun. Bye-bye.